The day my husband emptied our joint savings account, I was at the hospital holding our son's hand while he received his third round of chemotherapy. Liam was 7 years old, bald and brave, with eyes that still sparkled despite the poison dripping into his veins. I had been by his side for 18 months, through every test, every needle, every sleepless night. Julian was there too, sometimes. When work allowed, when he wasn't traveling, when he remembered, I made excuses for him. He was stressed. He was scared. He was coping in his own way. I was wrong. He wasn't coping. He was planning. My name is Genevieve Hart, and until that day, I believed my husband was a good man who loved his family. We had been married for 11 years. We met at a charity gala, where he was the handsome young executive and I was the shy graphic designer who had donated a painting for the auction. He pursued me with charm and persistence, and I fell hard. We built a life together, a beautiful home in the suburbs, 2 healthy children, a future that seemed bright. When Liam got sick, Julian promised we would do whatever it took to save him. He lied. The first sign of trouble came 3 months into Liam's treatment. Our credit card was declined at the hospital pharmacy. I called Julian, confused. He said it was a glitch, that he would fix it. I believed him. The second sign came when I tried to pay the mortgage. The bank said the account was frozen. Julian said it was a paperwork error, that he was handling it. I believed him. The third sign came when the hospital billing department called to say our insurance had lapsed. Julian said he had switched to a better plan, that there was a delay in processing. I wanted to believe him, but something in his voice had changed. It was flat, distant, final. I hired an accountant, a quiet woman named Elena who worked from a small office above a bakery. She was recommended by a friend, someone who had been through her own financial disaster. Elena was thorough, patient, and utterly without judgment. She asked for access to our accounts, our tax returns, our statements. I gave her everything. 2 weeks later, she called me into her office. Her face was pale. "Genevieve," she said, "I need you to sit down." The news was worse than I could have imagined. Julian had been draining our accounts for over a year. Not just the joint savings, but the children's college funds, the equity in our home, even Liam's medical fund. He had opened secret credit cards in my name, maxed them out, and let them go to collections. He had stopped paying the mortgage 6 months ago. The bank was preparing to foreclose. He had let our insurance lapse intentionally, pocketing the premiums. He had even taken out a life insurance policy on Liam, naming himself as the sole beneficiary. The total amount stolen was over $800,000. Gone. Vanished into accounts I couldn't trace, in countries I couldn't name. Julian had been planning this for months, maybe years. He was not a stressed father coping with a sick child. He was a thief, and I was his mark. I confronted him that night. He came home late, smelling of perfume that wasn't mine. I was sitting at the kitchen table, the evidence spread before me. He looked at the papers, then at me, and something shifted in his eyes. The mask dropped. "You were never supposed to find out," he said. His voice was calm, almost bored. "But it doesn't matter now. The money is gone. The house is gone. I'm gone. I've already filed for divorce. You'll be served tomorrow." I asked him about Liam, about our son fighting for his life, about the treatments that cost thousands of dollars a week. He shrugged. "Medical miracles are expensive," he said. "Maybe it's time to accept reality." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I sat in that kitchen chair, surrounded by the wreckage of my marriage, and I felt something I had never felt before. Not grief, not rage, a cold, quiet resolve. I would not let him destroy my son. I would not let him destroy me. I would find a way. The next morning, I called Elena. "I need to find that money," I said. "Every penny." She hesitated. "It's in offshore accounts, Genevieve. It could take years to trace, if ever." I told her I didn't care. I would wait years. I would wait decades. I would spend the rest of my life hunting him if I had to. That was 2 years ago. Today, Liam is in remission. His hair has grown back, thick and dark like his father's, but he is nothing like his father. He is kind. He is brave. He is everything Julian is not. And Julian is living in a small apartment in a town no one has heard of, working a job he hates, sending small checks for child support that barely cover groceries. He thought he had won. He was wrong. The hunt for the money continues. Elena has traced some of it, recovered a fraction. But the real victory is not the money. It is this: my son is alive. I am still standing. And the man who tried to destroy us is nothing but a cautionary tale. This is the story of the silent account. The one I never knew existed. The one that taught me who I really am. The 2 years after Julian left were a masterclass in survival. I sold the house before the bank could take it, using the little equity that remained to rent a small apartment near the hospital. I applied for every form of assistance I could find: Medicaid, Social Security, charitable grants for families with sick children. Some helped. Most didn't. I learned to stretch every dollar, to say no to things I hadn't known I could live without. I also learned to lie, to bill collectors, to skeptical receptionists, to my own parents, who offered money I couldn't accept because I knew they needed it more. Liam's treatments continued. Chemo, then radiation, then a stem cell transplant that left him fragile and feverish for weeks. I slept in a chair by his bed, holding his hand, reading him stories, praying to a God I wasn't sure I believed in anymore. Julian never visited, never called. The child support checks came sporadically, always late, always less than the court ordered. I stopped expecting anything from him. I stopped thinking about him. There was no room for his betrayal in the small, fierce world I was building with my son. Then, on a Tuesday in March, Elena called. She had found something. It was a small account, hidden in the Cayman Islands, with just under $50,000. A fraction of what Julian had stolen, but enough to pay for Liam's next round of immunotherapy. Elena had traced it through a series of shell companies, each one more obscure than the last. The trail was so complex that she suspected Julian had help, a financial advisor, maybe, or a lawyer who specialized in hiding money. I didn't care who helped him. I just wanted it back. The process took another 6 months. Legal motions, international banking regulations, affidavits and notarizations. I learned words I had never heard before. Letters rogatory, discovery, freezing injunction. Elena was relentless, filing paperwork, making calls, refusing to take no for an answer. In September, a judge ordered the funds released. I watched the deposit hit our new account, a small account, in my name only, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Not relief, not satisfaction, just a quiet, stubborn hope. Liam finished his treatment in December. His scans came back clean. The doctors used words like remission and encouraging and long-term survival. I cried for the first time since Julian left, great heaving sobs that shook my whole body. Liam hugged me, confused but steady. "It's okay, Mom," he said. "I'm not going anywhere." That night, I wrote Julian a letter. I didn't send it. I wrote it for myself, to remind myself of what I had survived. I told him about the months of chemo, the sleepless nights, the terror of watching our son fade. I told him about the small apartment, the ramen noodles, the bill collectors who called at all hours. I told him about Elena, about the Cayman account, about the judgment. And I told him that I had won. Not because I had beaten him, but because I had refused to let him beat me. I folded the letter and put it in a drawer. I never sent it. I didn't need to. He knew. Today, Liam is 8 years old. He is healthy, happy, and obsessed with dinosaurs. He has a collection of plastic raptors that lines his windowsill, and he can name every species in the Jurassic Park movies. He still has nightmares sometimes, but so do I. We hold each other in the dark and wait for morning. Julian is still out there. I hear rumors occasionally. He lost his job, he moved again, he burned through the stolen money. I don't care. The silent account is no longer silent. It is a story I tell other women, other mothers, other survivors. It is proof that even the deepest betrayal cannot destroy the bond between a mother and her child. Short positive sentence. The money he stole could never buy what we have. Each other, alive and unbreakable. Have you ever faced a betrayal that made you question everything? How did you find the strength to keep going? Share your story in the comments. Your voice might be the lifeline someone else needs. Subscribe to Backlash Tales for more stories of survival, justice, and the quiet power of refusing to give up.